Hello guys, in this video I will solve the first portion of ISA aptitude test 2018. So let's start. First test, you have two simple pendula. And the length of the pendulum is 1 meter, and the mass of the bob in both the pendulum is 1 kg and 2 kg respectively. These pendula are hung from a roof of lift. So it is a lift, and the pendula are being hung from the ceiling of a lift. This pendulum 1, pendulum 2. The lift is going with an acceleration of g by 10 downwards. So the acceleration of lift is this g over 10. If we assume g equal to 10 meter per second square, then what is the time period of each pendula? So see, the time period of a simple pendulum is t equal to 2 pi under root L over g. Actually it is g effective. Okay, it is g effective, the effective acceleration due to gravity. It does not depend on the mass. Both the pendulum have same length of each pendula is same, and they have same acceleration. So the time period of both the pendula will be same. So simply means t1 equal to t2 equal to 2 pi 2 into 3.14 into under root L. L is 1 meter and g effective. Now see, what is the g effective? Whenever a system like a lift pendulum system or something else goes up or down, the g effective changes. Okay, if your system is going up with some acceleration a, then the g effective is simply g minus a, g plus a. If your system is going up, this for upward, and if your lift is going downward, then the g effective is g minus a. Where is the acceleration of lift? It is for downward. Now here in the question, the lift is going downward, so the g effective is g minus g by 10, which is simply 9, g over 10. The value of g is 10 as given in the problem, so it will be simply 9 meter per second square. It is my g effective. So put this value here, 9 meter per second square. So it will be simply 2 into 3.14 into 1 over 3 second. Okay, just simplify. It is something, it is about 2.1 second t. So option D is correct. Okay, the important thing that should remember is this. You should remember the g effective. If lift goes up, then the acceleration will add, and if lift goes down, they will subtract. Okay. Now next, it is asking what is the probability of a radioactive nuclei to remain after passing 2 half-lives. So see, you have a nuclei initially at t equal to 0, the amount was n naught. As one lifetime passes, the amount becomes n naught by 2 after one lifetime t equal to t half. As another lifetime passes t equal to 2t half, it becomes half of the initial. So it becomes n naught over 4. The half, just half of this means 1 over 2 into n naught over 2, which is simply n naught over 4. This is the number of remaining nuclei. So the probability of a radioactive nuclei to remain after passing 2 half-lives is simply number of nuclei remaining n naught over 4 over initial nuclei. n naught is simply 1 over 4 means 0.25. It is the answer. Now you should note that it is the number of remaining. Okay, remaining. If someone asks what is the probability of disintegrating the number of nuclei that has been disintegrated, then it will be 1 minus disintegration. The disintegration, it will be 1 minus this 0.25 equal to 0.75. It is the probability of a nuclei to disintegrate after passing 2 half-life. It is the probability of remaining itself. Okay. A question was also asked in 2017 on the basis of half-life. So you should be prepared of the half-life. Now next problem. You have a system like this. The electric field is directed upward and it makes an angle of 45 degree from a dipole, from the axis of dipole. You have to find the torque acting on the dipole. So see, the magnitude of torque is simply tau equal to P sin theta. It is a very easy question. Now see, the P means double moment is Q into the separation between the charges. It is simply D. So QD E sin 45 degree. Sin 45 degree is 1 over root 2. So it is simply QD root 2. So option A is correct. The question was quite easy. I am surprised to see such kind of problem, such an easy problem. So we have the next problem. You have a circuit like this, a complicated circuit, and you have to find the current in R3, means this branch. So first apply the Kirchhoff's law. Apply the Kirchhoff's law in this loop. I apply in this direction, say loop 1. So if you apply the Kirchhoff's law, you will get I1 into 8 ohm equal to the 6 volt, or simply I1 equal to 6 over 8 means 3 over 4 ampere. Okay, this is the first value of I1. Now apply here, say I apply the Kirchhoff's law in this direction. Okay, loop 2. So in this loop 2, I2 into 10. I am going here and then come here. So it is positive by 3 times 5 equal to the, this cell is supporting me, so 10 positive and it is opposing, so negative, minus 3. So it is simply 10I2 plus 5I3 equal to 7. Say equation first. And similarly, if you apply the Kirchhoff's law in this loop, suppose I apply in this direction, loop 3. Just apply in loop 3, you will get I4 into 6 plus I3 into 5 equal to 6 minus 3, which simply implies 5I3 plus 6I4 is 3. Equation 2. There is another possibility to apply the Kirchhoff's law in the outer group. If I say this point to be A, B, C, D, then you can also apply the Kirchhoff's law for A, B, C, D, A. So for A, B, C, D, A, just try to apply to check whether you get something new or not. If you apply, you will get I go from A to B, then B to C. For the path B to C, it is I1 times 8, and I am going here, and the current is in opposite direction, so it is negative I4, and I go here, and then it is positive, so positive 10 I2, okay, and then comes back, okay. So it is simple, okay. Now for these cells, I am going from here to here. This is also supporting me. So positive 6, and if you go here, it will oppose. This cell will oppose. So it is negative 6. I go, and then it supports me. So positive 10. These two will cancel. So you will get 8 I1. And what was the value of I1? It was 6 upon 8. So 8 I1 is simply 6. So 6 minus I4. Actually it is I4 times 6. I4 times 6. 6 I4. Okay. I4 into 6. Yeah. 6 minus 6 I4 plus 10 I2 equal to 10. It will go there, and we will get 10 I2 minus 6 I4 equal to 4, and just divide by 2. So it will be 10 I2 minus 3 I4 equal to 2. Equation 3. So my third equation, second equation, and first equation. I have 3 variables, I2, I3 and I4, and I have 3 equations, so I can solve them. Just try to solve and find the value of I3. So for such set of equation, I will solve these equations by matrix method. And C, for first equation I can write it as 10 I2 plus 5 I3 plus 0 I4 equal to 7. The second equation is 5 I3 plus 6, let me write it here, 5 I3 6 I4 equal to 3 and 0 I2. And the last equation is 5 I2 minus 3 I4 minus plus 0 I3 minus 3 I4 equal to 2. So use the formula AX equal to B. Let me erase all this stuff. From here, X means determinant. The matrix of I2 I3 is A inverse. So inverse of the matrix. This 10 5 0 0 5 6 5 0 minus 3 inverse into B. B is simply 7 3 2. Okay. Now first check the determinant whether it is invertible or not. So just find the determinant. So first find the determinant. The determinant of this matrix, determinant A, is simply 10 times this 10 times minus 15 minus 0 minus 5 times 0 minus 30. And if you multiply minus 150 minus 150, sorry, minus plus 150, these two will cancel, it is 0. So it is non-invertible. invertible, or it means the inverse does not exist, and if inverse does not exist, then it can have infinitely many values. So there is no appropriate option because it is not invertible, so it does not have any solution, no solution, because it is non-invertible. In 2010 there were some problems which were controversial, and the bonus marks were given for such problems in physics. One was based on the electromagnetic wave, one was on the Kirchhoff's law, and one was on the pendula that I have already solved. This you will get bonus. Now next problem, you have an electromagnetic wave. I want to mention that it is also a controversial problem. Okay, there was a controversy on this problem. Okay, and it is also bonus. So let me read the problem again. You have an electromagnetic wave which is moving towards the z direction. Okay, so the v vector is along the z direction. Okay, and the electric field of electric component of the field of the wave is along the x direction. Then what will be the direction of magnetic field? So see, in electromagnetic wave, electric field, direction of propagation, and magnetic field, these all are mutually perpendicular. So if wave is moving like this, say z, x and y, whenever you draw a coordinate system, make sure that it agrees with the right hand rule, so that x cross y gives you z, so it is right. It is the direction of propagation of wave, v vector, and the electric field is propagating, is moving in the x direction. So it is something like this. Okay, this is the electric field, E vector. Okay, it is the magnitude, so it is the amplitude. So the magnetic field B vector has to be perpendicular to the both the direction of propagation as well as the electric field. So the only choice that it has is the y direction. If wave is moving this, then the any direction, whether it is x, y, or any plane between the x or y, is always perpendicular to the velocity, but it has to be perpendicular to the electric field as well. The direction perpendicular to the x-axis is simply y-axis or z. It cannot have the z direction, so it will have only y direction. So the acceptable value for the direction of magnetic field will be y direction only. Y direction. It should be the answer. But in the option there is nothing about the y direction. All the options are in a plane. Some have 1 over root 2 times y cap plus z cap, 1 over root 2 times x cap plus z cap, 1 over root 2 times x cap plus y cap, 1 over root 3 times x cap plus y cap plus z cap. It simply means that the wave is in the direction yz plane, is in the yz plane, passing through the midpoint. It cannot have, because it is not perpendicular. See, if it is the direction of magnetic field, it cannot be perpendicular to the velocity vector or electric field vector. So it is wrong. Similarly, x cap plus z cap means the direction, it means the xy plane. In the xy plane, it cannot have the direction perpendicular to the propagation, so it is also wrong. Now the third option is, so it is wrong. It cannot be the answer. Now next problem. You have iron ring of radius 2.1 meter, and you want to fit it into a wheel of radius 2.121 meter. So clearly it is smaller, it is larger. So you have to expand it. So it is given that the coefficient of volume expansion is gamma. Gamma of iron is 3.6 into 10 to the power 5 Kelvin inverse. Then how much temperature need to be raised to fit the iron ring into the wheel? So see, you want linear expansion. You want to expand the linear dimension, means radius. So the change is simply delta R is the difference 0.021 meter, or I can write it as delta L. Okay. Recall that the delta L is alpha L naught into delta T. Okay. I want value of alpha, but it is gamma. So the linear the relation between the coefficient of expansions is simply alpha ratio beta ratio gamma equal to 1 ratio 2 ratio 3. It means the volume expansion is thrice of the alpha. Means alpha over gamma is 1 over 3 from this expression. I value alpha, so alpha is gamma by 3. What is the value of gamma? 3.6 into 10 to the power 5. So it is 1.2 into 10 to the power 5 Kelvin inverse. You can divide it by 3. So put this value here. Delta is 0.021 equal to 1.2 into 10 to the power 5 Kelvin inverse. L naught initial length was 2.1 into delta T. Now see, delta T is 0.021 over 1.2 into this fraction. It is 10 to the power minus 5. 10 to the power minus 5. Okay, it is the correction. So value of was 0.021 into this 10 to the power minus 5 into 2.1. If you increase 2 zeros and it will divide by 10 times, so it is 1 over 1.2 into 10 to the power 3, and 1.12 is approximately 0.0833 into 10 to the power 3. So delta T is approximately 833 Kelvin. Now you should note that the answer are given in degree Celsius. Most of the students will do some mistake that they will write in degree Celsius. It is 833 plus 273, and this is 0.11 degree Celsius, the delta T. But it is wrong. It is absolutely wrong, because it is not the absolute temperature. It is the change in the degree Celsius scale, and the change in absolute temperature is same. Okay. Recall that the temperature, absolute temperature, is simply temperature in degree Celsius plus 273. It is the relation. If you change to the change, then change in T is same as the change in T plus change in 273. It is constant, so there is no change, so it is 0, which simply means that delta T is same as delta T. So the change in absolute scale is same as change in degree Celsius scale. So delta T, the temperature in degree Celsius, is also 833 degrees Celsius. It is the answer. Okay. Don't do something like this. Don't do anything like this. Okay. So the answer is this.